I am Justin Boyd.
I'm Tristan Jones.
I'm Franklin Cooper.
And we are the Watchers in the Basement. Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement. Welcome to Watchers Football, the podcast within a podcast, and a podcast that's all about the big skin. We are here today to discuss or to provide our midseason report because the NFL, with last night's game, if the Cardinals beat the Cowboys on Monday Night Football, closed the book on Week 9. We are exactly halfway through the NFL season, which is kind of hard to believe that we're already halfway through the season. And, you know, guys, looking at the landscape of the NFL right now, I don't see a dominant team. And I know both of you all are Chiefs fans. In years past, the Chiefs were that team that everyone was kind of gunning for, trying to bring down. And right now, Tristan, correct me if I'm wrong, we don't really have that team, right?
We don't. I mean, if you go by standings, Colts still have we have teams that have like the statistical profile of a great team. The Colts are number one in offense, top 5 or top 7 in defense at the very least. You have the best running back in the league this year. You have the best O-line, I would say, this year. One of the best defenses, obviously. Really good play caller. Quarterback who's playing, you know, above his previous level. And nobody would be shocked if they lost in the divisional round. You know what I mean? Like we have the reigning Super Bowl champs who have won, correct me if I'm wrong, like they've lost maybe 3 games over the last 20 plus games. You have a quarterback who is putting up overall very good numbers. 2 dominant receivers, good defense, so on and so forth. One of the best running backs in the league, somebody who had 2,000 yards last year. And again, we had grave questions about one side of the ball. Like, hey, can you actually throw the ball? like an NFL offense. So yeah, man, there's a lot of parity. Like you mentioned the Chiefs. The Chiefs are 5-4 and they're still like betting favorites to win this, to like make it to the Super Bowl, which tells you, you know, everything that you need to see. Like, and they've been up and down, at times dominant, at times, you know, middling, you know, and that you could say every team in the league, at least every team right now that's in the playoff picture has something like a fatal flaw, you know, like, and that's something we're not used to seeing. Like, there's teams with flaws, but like actual fatal flaws, like Buffalo. Hey, can you stop the run? You know, Detroit, you know, can you protect Jared Goff? Can you move the ball without A+ protection? You can go down the line. In some ways, it's made the NFL game watching experience like better. In some ways, it's like, man, I still would love to see a great team. I prefer for it to be my team, but clearly it's not this year. So like, this is just going to be one of those years where we're going to get a champion that probably won't go down to like, hey, the top 10 of the last 25 years, but you'll get a champion like who at the very least is able to like wade through some like pretty difficult waters to make a long playoff run. So we can't really complain about that. They're good teams, and the teams with like really good quarterbacks, good offenses, those teams, you know, will be there. So like, I think overall we're going to get a good champion, but we're definitely not going to get a great team. Like, that's not happening this year.
Yeah, you said it well. The parity. There's so like we don't have one team, but we have like right now we have a pretty good. You know, I don't know how many teams you think 12 teams could win the Super Bowl right now. Maybe. I mean, in reality, maybe it's only like 6 of those. But like right now, there's they're all kind of bunched up. Frank, what do you think about the first half of the season so far, and like where the playoff picture kind of looks right now? With, you know, the Chiefs are actually they're the 8th seed right now. They're on the outside looking in.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed, man, about this season, outside of the obvious parity, is I think the gap is closing between the elite quarterbacks and like well-constructed teams wholeheartedly, meaning that you're starting to see now the roster reconstruction of teams who have to, like, there's the Mahomeses, the Lamar Jacksons, the Josh Allens, they take up like 40% of your cap. And now you have to like really figure out how do the other 60% fit into this grand scheme of things, and can we win, or are we asking our quarterback to do too much because they're commanding so much of the cap? When you look at the Colts, when you look at Drake May on a rookie contract in New England, when you look at these type of teams, they're young and they have quarterbacks who are making next to nothing, and these teams are drafting so well around them. Like the Colts have the best. I watch Colts games just to watch Quinn Nelson and company just roll great through people. Like it's old school football, and like you don't see that much anymore because of how the salary cap is set and how quarterbacks command so much of the salary cap. But I'm starting to see a lot of these teams really just have put together really good to great rosters, and have a quarterback who's making next to nothing, or a bridge gap starter like Daniel Jones in Indianapolis. When we look at the Broncos roster, I mean, the quarterback is in the year 2 of a 5-year deal, and they have the best front four in football. It looks like they lead the league in sacks. So I'm not saying that those quarterbacks are closing the gap as far as getting closer to Josh, Lamar, and Pat, but you are starting to see now that these teams are jumping the gun and like saying, you know what, while our quarterback is not making $60 million a year, let's put together the best roster around these guys possible to compete. I mean, people might disagree with what the coach did today. They're going for it. They went ahead and got Sauce Gardner and gave it 2 first-round picks because they know, well, Daniel Jones is making next to nothing. We have a good roster. We're 7-2. We're vying for number 1 seed. Why not go for it? And I think you're starting to see more teams do that now before their quarterback chimes in, makes the big jackpot payment of making $60 million, $70 million a year.
Yeah, so like a good roster is what you're saying. A good roster is a great equalizer, whereas before it was kind of flipped. Like, hey, if you had a team, you had a team with a good roster and a decent quarterback, but you had a team with a similar tiered roster, but like a great quarterback. It used to be at that great quarterback, especially if he was on a rookie deal, was your equalizer. Like, hey, we can patch up all these holes because we have this quarterback who can be a force multiplier. And now it's kind of shifted back. It's like, hey, man, having that quarterback is great, but it's going to be, what I'm noticing is the weapons that you can put around a quarterback is going to be inconsistent from year to year. Some years you might have a perfectly constructed wide receiver core, like the Chiefs in 2022. The next year, that same receiving core minus 1 or 2 guys, add 1 or 2 guys, the chemistry isn't right, or some guys underperform where they did the year before, and it's not as easy to just go out and get like that splash receiver or that splash running back because you're sort of, when you have a quarterback like that, you have to like go all in as much as you can for that year, but you also have to think down the line, like how are we going to put together a well-constructed roster as we go forward with the said quarterback, especially if you get that quarterback early and that quarterback shows like MVP potential early. It's like, okay, yeah, we have to like kind of split the difference between going all in to win the Super Bowl for that particular year and also thinking down the line of like, who do we need to pay here? Who do we need to let go? What skill positions do we need to prioritize? Which defensive positions do we need to prioritize? So like the way that, I mean, we're seeing the same thing, honestly, in basketball. Whereas it used to be, hey, get 2 to 3 stars and we'll just kind of worry about everything else later. And like, no, now you need 6 to 7 guys who can do 3 to 4 things consistently, plus the star, plus a second guy who can play like a role player and a star when need be. And like team rosters need to be more versatile in almost every sport that we're looking at in order to compete at a high level on a year-to-year basis.
Hey, talk about the importance of the rookie contract. I did think the Patriots were somehow going to make the playoffs, but I had no clue that Drake May would have that team at 7-2 right now, and they've won 6 straight. I mean, Frank, they're definitely ahead of the plan in New England.
They are. My only concern with them is I think Drake May still takes way too many hits, and he has to find the middle ground of like knowing when to give up on the play, throwing the ball away, and finding a way to extend the play and not take those vicious shots. Like he got knocked out of a game earlier this year because of him hold on to the ball too long. They seem to have a good running game with Ramondre and Travion Henderson. Diggs looks like he's back from the knee injury as well. Keyshawn Bootle, the slot receiver, and Douglas, they have a lot of good pieces. I like what they're doing. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see this next Buffalo matchup when they play again in the next couple of weeks to see if they can really grab the bull by the horns. If they find a way to beat Buffalo again and sweep that series and vie for number 1 seed, man, I don't know, man. I don't think anybody wants to go to New England in January.
Yeah, and it's crazy when you look at the standings right now. Like the top 3 seeds in the AFC: Colts 7-2, Patriots 7-2, Broncos 7-2. It's like, what are we, like in 2005 or something? Like what year is this? Like, I don't think anyone thought these 3 teams were going to be. I mean, obviously the Broncos playoff team last year. I mean, the Patriots were a team that people thought could maybe be a 9-10 win team, maybe. But the Colts still one of the biggest surprises.
Well, all 3 of those teams also have one of the weakest strength of schedules in the league, in the AFC at the very least. And they're taking advantage. The Colts are not just beating bad teams; they're smashing bad teams. But they also have shown issues with actual real life good teams. The Patriots, we talked about it, like, hey, if they go 3-0 on this next stretch, like they have to go 3-0 in order for us to take them seriously. Right, like they had a deficit. They had to it was a proof of concept because their schedule was so bad. But they got through the first Buffalo game. It's like, hey, you looked ahead and you got the Saints, Falcons, and I think it was the Titans. So it's like, hey, you have to go 3-0. Otherwise, even if they went 2-1, I don't think we would have looked at them with any type of seriousness. Like we have to take them seriously because of what they're doing to these bad teams and just beating them consistently. And winning, even when Drake May is not like spectacular, like his floor right now is just being good. You're like, which is amazing. Like that tells me superstar, potential, very close to being a superstar right now. As far as the Colts, with all 3 of those teams, if I'm just being honest, it just goes back to like what we talked about with the parity. All 3 of those teams feature quarterbacks who are in some ways playing above their skis. In some ways, they're kind of getting bailed out, Bo Nix, in a bunch of ways. These are, while going to, Indianapolis in January, playing in that dome, going to Foxborough in January, playing in that cold, and then obviously Denver in that altitude. Those are also 3 quarterbacks no one should trust. In those same, you would have to say the same thing to them, like, hey, Daniel Jones, hey, your whole career might be on the line. Like, hey, good luck, like whatever the next phase of your career looks like as a starting quarterback, hey, good luck. Bo Nix, you haven't been good for 4 straight quarters since last year, or since Oregon. Do you trust Bo Nix at home or on the road in January? Yeah. Drake May, we honestly look at you like a rookie when it comes to like playoff, big game experience and stuff like that. Like you can see like those lights being too big for him at first. So again, very good rosters, especially with Indianapolis and Denver. But 3 green quarterbacks in those moments that you can't trust. So it's like, which one wins out, the roster or the position that's supposed to be your force multiplier in these tough, sticky situations.
Yeah, and we haven't seen those top 3 teams be tested really. I mean, Frank, let's talk about little bit about that Colts Steelers game, because last week I was really looking forward to this game because I'm like, okay, if the Colts are going to be this team, if they're going to be the number 1 seed, they're going to be the surprise that's going to go 14-3 or whatever. Like they have to beat this Pittsburgh team. That did not happen. They lost. They turned the ball over 6 times. I think if they turned it over 4 times, they probably win the game. But yeah, they did not pass the test. They still might be the best team in the AFC when it's all said and done at the end of the year. Who knows? But that was an ugly game.
Yeah, I'm a big believer of like do what got you to the dance. And what the Colts have been doing over the last 9 weeks have been run the football, play action off the run, and playing good defense, being able to play with a lead. Jonathan Taylor had 14 carries in that game.
Yeah.
You're not going to win. The Colts are not going to win that brand of football outside of what they've been doing the last 9 weeks, which has been the run first team. When I think Daniel had 48 pass attempts in that game, that's not going to get it done. You're not going to win with Daniel Jones throwing the ball 48 times. Yeah. That's not your brand of football if you're the Colts. You want to get back to the run, play action off the run, and that's how you win. And Daniel Jones, he's an athlete. RPO stuff, play action stuff. Like he's accurate, playing all the play action. But when you're asking him to drop back that many times, it doesn't bode well. I mean, at least that's what history shows. Jonathan Taylor has to be the engine to that offense for them to be successful.
Yeah. That begs the question. Like games like that expose more questions. Can the Colts play from behind? Right? Like I still have the same question about Denver. Obviously they came back against the Giants in historic fashion, but like you're not banking on that. Can these teams play from behind? Like these are as we talk about the parity, like I guess we kind of have to change the questions that we ask. Normally, when we get this far into the season, we're like, okay, hey, who's playing well on both sides of the ball? Like great complementary football. Like, which quarterback can this quarterback win in a shootout? Can this quarterback, there's just so many different questions that we have to ask because we have essentially these quote unquote great teams who don't have great quarterbacks. So like, I guess the math kind of changes. Can you play from behind? Can you keep a 10-point lead, late in the second half, and continue to put up points or continue to control, possession? Because those are the things that we ask of like great teams, but not necessarily great quarterbacks. With great quarterbacks, is like, hey, we expect you to score. We expect you to put up points, whatever necessary points are there. And we just don't know that about these teams. So like that Colts Steelers game, kind of the same questions that were being confirmed with like the Detroit and Minnesota. For Detroit, it's like, hey, when protection breaks down, we still ask that question. Do you have a quarterback who can lead the ball down the field, lead the team down the field? And I don't think they proved that. I think that's still a question that Detroit still has the answer. And I think Indianapolis has that same question on their hands. Like, hey, can Daniel Jones play within the script and outside of the script when things are not going perfectly? Right? It's the Brock Purdy question that he had to answer. It's like, hey, when things are not going well, this offensive lineman is down. This receiver is down. The running game is not working perfectly. Hey, your special teams gave up 14 points, and now you're down 10 with like 11 minutes left. Like, do you have that in your game, in your bag to like lead that comeback? Because those situations are going to come up.
Yeah, exactly. Let's a little bit more on the AFC before we go over to the NFC. Let's talk about the Bills-Chiefs game. The Bills got the win. Somehow they've won 5 straight against the Chiefs in the regular season, which is that stat kind of caught me off guard. But then you think about it, like even if you're a Bills player or especially a Bills fan, you're probably like thinking like, hey, we're glad we won, but like until we beat these guys in the playoffs, like we can't really say a whole lot or hang our hat on that. Frank, what'd you see in that game? I mean, could this be the year if Buffalo and the Chiefs meet in the playoffs? Could Buffalo actually beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, or is it kind of new year, same result?
I don't know, man. I feel like when I watch Andy Reid and the coaching staff, I feel like they're always holding something back. Like I feel like they're just saying, we're gonna play this game with this amount of plays and this particular scheme, and then come December, January, we will unveil the rest of the plans to get into the fortress. It just watching that game looked like they were playing with a limited script. It didn't look creative. It didn't look like they really did a lot of in-game adjustments afterwards. Pat was holding to the ball too long, trying to extend plays. Guys weren't really getting open, but like I didn't really see a lot of guys in motion. Like I know that the Chiefs really lead the league in motion, pre-snap motion. I didn't really see a lot of that either in this game. I'm not saying that they did. I'm not saying they didn't try to win this game, but I just feel like the Chiefs always think like a month ahead or 2 months ahead. Like, hey, we're probably going to see this team again in January. Let's wait and then unveil a few more wrinkles. Going into the second half, it was a frustrating game to watch. So I feel like there was a lot of plays that could have been made. The goal line series, man, inside the two and not being able to score frustrated the hell out of me. Like that to me, that changed the complexion of that game. Not being able to score a touchdown there and only going for 3, only getting 3. It just left a lot to be desired as far as like creativity and play calling in that game. And I think in the last 5 regular season games, we sacked Josh Allen twice, which leads to a larger issue. Why can't we get to this guy? I know he's this uber athlete, this uber supernova of a quarterback, but the Chiefs have to find a way to generate pressure without having to allow him to SPAC special. And I was hoping today by the deadline to get a pass rusher or a two technique tackle that can generate pressure. And another concern that I have too is Chris Jones washed? I have not seen this man for the better part of 6 weeks now. And I'm getting concerned. Like that disrupted D tackle, like we was having the conversation 2 years ago, but whether or not he is the best D tackle in football, along Aaron Donald, I have not seen that Chris Jones this year. He's giving up on plays. He's over pursued on certain plays where he should have contained. I don't know what's going on with him, but for this defense and for this D line to have any type of threat of a pass rush, he has to wake the fuck up. And if it's a skill dimension thing, then you know what? I salute him for the years of service. But if it's not a skill dimension thing, and it's more of a I'm not in shape or I'm not doing what I need to do in practice or leading up to the games, then I have an issue with that. But yeah, that's my breakdown on the Chiefs in that game.
I think with Chris, it's more of we played the equivalent to like 2 separate seasons more than everybody else during that span. And Chris Jones is what, 32 now? Is he washed? Probably not, but he's pulling into the lot. Like he's there. That game, first of all, it was frustrating for the same reasons it was frustrating for Coop. I watched that game not knowing like what the plan was. This team has been so successful on a drive to drive basis when they go 2 tight ends under formation. The running game has been improving, and then just kind of abandon all that. Like you said, like the lack of pre-snap motion. You just didn't see it as much in last game. Like it did feel like something was being held back. The issue is this team. I wish Andy and by proxy Matt Nagy and I wish they would stop holding stuff back as they know that this offense still is trying to like gel to like its ultimate form. Like it feels like we took a step back as far as like the creativity and like opening up the offense to like fully take advantage of your advantages. Your advantages are you have 4 guys technically with like 4.3 speed and below. But like you're not getting them out into space, you're going with these quick passes, but you're not really creating advantages with those quick passes. To the point where like it seemed like Buffalo knew where those those quick passes were coming, when they were coming. Like that there, really kind of threw me off because I'm like, we're used to Andy Reid being ahead of the curve, play calling wise, and we didn't see that. Defensively, I wasn't shocked by anything that happened. The Chiefs have struggled with tight ends because we have 3 really good run stuffing linebackers. Neither one of them are known for like their coverage skills. Like they can make plays here and there. Leo Chenal has got an interception this year. I think Nick Bolden's got an interception this year. Tranquil's got an interception this year, or close to an interception this year. But like neither one of them are known for like their ball skills and
Was
cover
that supposed to be
skills.
Drew Tranquil though? Wasn't that supposed to be his skill set as a come from the Chargers to be a coverage linebacker?
Yeah, he's not that. Again, he's made plays over the last couple of years. He's made plays. I can't say that he hasn't, but like this year, like it's never. He hasn't been elite at it. He's been good. Like he's a good run guy. He's a decent pass guy. Any type of drop off will be substantial because he's not great at either. But the struggle with tight ends, Bolton and Tranquil have been targeted with running backs and linebackers. I'm sorry, running backs and tight ends, and the Bills tight ends ate us alive. They are vulnerable to play action because they struggle stopping the run in between the tackles. Hopefully getting, not Mike Dana, Mike Pennell, getting him back hopefully can add something to it. But the Bills just really just attacked us in every area where most teams have not been able to like fully exploit, over the course. But these things have been bubbling up all season. Justin Herbert took advantage of the linebackers. They took advantage of play action. The Jaguars took advantage of play action. The Eagles, not really. I thought the defense was pretty good there, but they just couldn't get stops late, especially on third down. All those things came back and bit us in the ass in this game. So, again, this team has a high ceiling, but there's too much variance in their floor right now. Like they should have been able to attack that Bills secondary, even though they were dropping 6 to 7 guys. Back there they should have been able to attack some area because they couldn't protect Mahomes up front with just 4 guys. So those things need to get cleaned up. Like it's cool that they want to hold stuff back, but you got, like Pat said, you got to get there first, man. And right now that's not a guarantee. So I'm excited to see what this team look like in this level of adversity because, again, the AFC has never been this good in the Mahomes era relative to where the Chiefs are. The gap is definitely closing there. I still believe that they're the best team in the AFC because I think they have the highest ceiling by far, but they got to show it. Just plain and simple, they got to show it.
I'm concerned with the running game as well. Look, man, Kareem Hunt's a great story. I'm glad that he's got his life back right and he's happy, but I'm sorry. Him and Pacheco are not going to cut it. You need a guy with burst and with vision, man. Like
I agree, but like that, the run game has been steadily improving. It's the how the run game. How if you're just sitting up in shotgun, the statistics show, like the film shows, like that's not working. Get these guys under center. 2 tight ends, like impose your will and then use that to open up, the intermediate game. Maybe take some deep shots, but like they have to commit to it. Right, and they went away from everything they've been doing the last three weeks in the run game on Sunday. For what reason, I have no idea. But they can run it, bro. Like they can run it. They just have to like run it effectively, and they did everything that they have not done well in the run game. Too much shotgun, too much, running with no tight end on the field. Those things are not going to work. We're just not that team, bro. Like that's not who they are right now.
Yeah.
So the Chiefs are the 8th seed right now. I do think they will figure it out and find their way into the tournament at the end of the year. Let's wrap up our AFC talk though with a team that won't make the playoffs. Let's talk about the last 2 weeks of the Cincinnati Bengals. 2 incredible, insane, heartbreaking losses for that team where 2 weeks ago they played the Jets. This was the Jets' first win of the season. The Bengals have a 14-point lead, 4th quarter. They lose by 1 point. The Jets come back and beat them. Then this Sunday against the Bears, a crazy game where the Bears had a 2-touchdown lead. Cincinnati rallies to take the lead, then coughs it back up on an incredible play. Caleb Williams finds his tight end, what's his name, Colston Loveland, across the middle. I mean, if he makes the catch, he's tackled. They have a chance at a game-winning field goal if they have enough time. They didn't have a timeout at that point, but the Bengals can't tackle the guy. He breaks it, runs 50 yards for a touchdown to win the game. Just an insane couple of games, when you got Joe Flacco throwing for almost 500 yards, you got those two elite receivers on the Bengals, and they're 3-6. They very easily could be 5-4, but that team's a mess. They traded one of their linebackers to the Cowboys. Logan Wilson's going to Dallas. That's a team that's not very good at defense. Now they're giving, and I mean, Dallas isn't either, but they're selling off guys. Tristan, your thoughts on the Bengals right now? They're a mess.
I have zero sympathy for the Bengals, bro. I look at every game I watch. I was watching that game. What's funny is I turned it off with 2 minutes left. Literally with 2 minutes left.
Because it was 41-27 or something. Yeah.
I was trying to I forgot what game. It might have been Minnesota, Detroit. I don't know, but I was trying to focus on one game because I had like 4 games on. I was like, okay, Chicago, that's settled. Boom. And then fucking live looking, Tracy Wolf on here telling me that this is a 1-point Bengals game. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I still don't know what happened. I have to rewatch that. But literally everyone said, hey, the Bengals need to invest in that defense, right? The Bengals have made a conscious choice to allocate their resources. Football is all about how you allocate your resources. You a salary cap sport, especially with football, which is hard capped, much more hard capped than the NBA is, and obviously baseball, so on and so forth. They made a conscious decision to allocate their main resources to the quarterback position, completely understandable, and to 2 wide receiver positions, which is halfway understandable, because that should have gone to fixing like the many holes that they have in their defense. Remember this when we talk about the Cowboys, hopefully, in a little bit. And, just forgetting or foregoing taking care of both sides of the ball. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, I understand like that luxury of having 2 tier 1, in my opinion, receivers. But how many teams win the Super Bowl with 2 tier 1 receivers like that, right? Yeah. Philly is different because their entire roster was stacked. Both times that they made the Super Bowl in the last 3 years. What other team can really say that? Honestly, I don't know how many you can actually name. Like 2 absolute, like you have to devote 35 to 40% of your cap to these guys. Yeah. They made that conscious decision, even though all signs pointed to like them having the same or worse defense than they had last year. And last year was historically bad. This year's is worse. Mm-hmm. So now you don't have the quarterback, right? Like you have kind of the same production, put a pin in that. But this is a decision that they made, and they're reaping the benefit. They're not the benefit. They're reaping what they sowed on that. So yeah, I feel nothing. Like this is kind of what you get. Like that defense was really, really, really bad, and then you feel that you lost guys, and then your best player is disgruntled because you didn't want to pay him. Like there was all signs that this was going to be a really, really, really bad defense, and that's what we got.
Yeah, Frank, 2 insane games though. I can understand not having sympathy for the Bengals, but like you couldn't script 2 crazier back-to-back games for that franchise.
No, you can't. But it goes back to what Tristan said: is how you allocate your resources, right? And they don't allocate any of the salary cap percentages to their defense, and then they don't draft well. So it's like. So most teams, if you don't draft well, you overcompensate in free agency, or if you don't overcompensate in free agency, you're the Packers and the Chiefs, and you just draft well. They do neither well. So it's like you're putting all this pressure on your star quarterback and 2 receivers, but if those guys aren't dropping 38 a game. Like I'm saying, dropping 38 games to have a chance to win the game, not win the game, but have a chance to win. They have to drop between 35 to 40 a game. I mean, even with last year, the MVP numbers that Burrow was putting up, they were putting up 35. I think they were 2-7 last year when they scored 35 or more. Like that's insane to me. That's insane. That's an insane stat, and not much is different this year. Flacco's playing well. I mean, Flacco played well in that Pittsburgh game. He played well Sunday. He played well the Sunday before last.
Yeah.
And Jamar Chase has been the benefactor. Him and Higgins have been the benefactor of Flacco playing well. But where's Chase Brown? He hasn't. They haven't. They're. I think. And so amongst the 32 NFL rushers, he's 28th right now in production, running and passing out and catching out of the backfield. Like they're getting nothing out of their running game, nothing at all. On top of the bad defense that they're getting, and Mike Brown didn't do anything to like make it better in the trade deadline. They didn't trade for any defensive pieces. They traded away a linebacker, but they didn't acquire anything for the defense side of the ball. It's just this is a team, and this is where like teams like the Browns and the Jets and the Bengals. This is why I say it's okay as a fan to just leave and root for somebody else, because it doesn't make sense to put your resources and money and merchandise, your eyeballs on TV to watch the shitty project or a shitty team on screen every fucking week and waste all your damn time and get nothing in return. I don't know why Bengals. If I was a Bengals fan, I would not go to the game anymore. I'll find another team or watch the Buckeyes. I really would. Like this is a waste of time. It's a waste of a franchise.
I mean, the game's entertaining though. You can't like. If you like pure entertainment,
is it like put yourself in the mode of a Bengals fan? Put yourself in the mode of a Bengals fan who's at the game, right? Like you're thinking like, hey man, we have this game in the bag, or hey man, we're getting blown out. Like, but like it's a constant roller coaster. Like, it's exciting, but like it could also kill you at the same time. Like like cocaine is exciting, I suppose. You know what I'm saying? Like. It could also be the end of you.
Right.
I don't know how exciting that is. We've rooted for teams who are really good with like great offenses and like just mediocre defenses, and that's not fun at all. You're like, it's 3rd down and 17, and I'm just like, I'm on the edge of my seat in ways that I should not be. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how exciting that is. Like it's riveting.
Yeah.
It's heart racing.
Right.
But it's not something I would recommend as a good time.
That's fair.
Like 41-27, you're leaving the stadium. You're trying to get to the parking lot and get out and miss traffic.
Yeah.
And if you left that game, you would have found out on the radar that you lost. Like that's inexcusable, man. This is becoming a norm for the Bengals. It's gonna be Carson Palmer over again. By the time Burrow's 30, he's gonna want out. You know what I'm saying? Like same with Jamar Chase and Higgins. So.
Yeah. Let's move over to the NFC, because over there, and Tristan, I want to get your thoughts, especially on this one. The Green Bay Packers, are a Super Bowl favorite for a lot of people. Yeah. They have as many wins as the Carolina Panthers. And the Carolina Panthers just went into Lambeau and beat the Packers on Sunday, led by your guy, the quarterback. What are you thinking about? I mean,
he was out there.
He's out there.
He was
out there. Yeah,
he was definitely taking the snap.
He participated. Yeah, but Carolina 5-4. I mean,
Carolina, man,
they're not in the playoff picture right now, but they're outside looking in. But I mean, that's an impressive win to go into Lambeau and beat that team. Even maybe the Packers aren't as good as we thought they might be.
Absolutely, I think the Panthers might have stumbled upon the right formula to, one, become a team worth taking seriously, and two, to like properly develop Bryce Young, which is take the ball out of his hands. It's just like, hey, get a really good running game and like let's lean into that and let him develop off that. Let him build his game out and put less pressure on him to have to make spectacular plays and, just kind of consistently playing behind the sticks, 2nd and long, 3rd and longs, 4th and 6 and 4th and 7s and turn those into more 3rd and 2s. You know what I'm saying? I think that's better for him overall. And if he could have had that coming in as a rookie, I think the trajectory of who Bryce Young is would have been a lot higher than what it is now. Even though I feel like he's kind of rounding into a good quarterback, it's still he's still closer to like the Kyler Murray side of the spectrum than he is the, like even Caleb Williams. You know what I'm saying? Like Even Caleb has been in a more stable offensive situation. We know
Come
there's
on, bro.
nothing stable about the Bears.
I'm not gonna hold Bryce like that, dog. Kyler Murray
What
doesn't
I
care,
mean,
bro.
no. This is what I mean by that. I mean, in the sense of, you know how I've been since for a year I'm on this podcast saying I don't know how good Kyler Murray is, because he can do something really spectacular and then be sorry as hell for 2 quarters. And I don't think Bryce Young is there. Bryce Young is definitely further along on the good quarterback scale than Kyler Murray.
Okay.
But I'm saying he's closer. If we're looking at it as like a line, you know, a line graph, he's a little bit closer to Kyler Murray than he is CJ Stroud. You see what I'm saying? But he's moving closer to there or whatever. But that's a really impressive win, even though Green Bay has yet to like fully lock in being the team that they are on paper, you know, which is a team that could win the Super Bowl on paper. You have the pass rush, the defense is really good. You have a good set of like decent to really good receivers. The wild card, which we said in the preseason, is Jordan Love, man. Like, which Jordan Love are you getting? And you can't be a Super Bowl contender when the most important player on your offense or your team is a wild card. Like, Jordan Love no longer because of the contract that was paid out to him, because of the all-in move. You know, we're going to talk about these trades, but like, they made an all-in move, and teams, first thing first, did a great graphic today where Nick Wright talked about over the last, I would say, 10 years, teams that have made these all-in moves for non-quarterbacks, your Khalil Macks, your Michael Parsons, Sauce Gardner's now, like, these are teams that you can reasonably assume they feel great about their quarterback situation, because those aren't moves that you make when you feel like, oh, hey, I might need to draft a quarterback next spring, right? I have my quarterback set. Now I can start allocating more resources to these like very important, you know, your skilled pass rushers, your cornerbacks, you know, your Mike linebackers, so on and so forth. So like, everything that Green Bay has done has been the right thing around Jordan Love. The one thing that needs to be more constant is Jordan Love being good. And when he's good, he's great. He just had, in my opinion, his best game of his career outside of, you know, the wild card game in Dallas the other week. Like, he was excellent from start to finish against Pittsburgh. And you got the complete opposite. Like, you got him throwing in triple coverage again. You got him trying to make something out of absolutely nothing. You know, like, there's nothing to be made, bro. Like, 0 times 5 is 0. You know what I'm saying? And he throwing it into the end zone. I haven't seen a pick be that gifted to a defender and they just completely drop it than I saw this past Sunday. It was like a punt.
Yeah.
And the dude just dropped it. You know, so he should have had 2 interceptions. And that game was actually way worse than what the statistics showed. So I ceased to taking Green Bay seriously as a Super Bowl contender until I see a consistent Jordan Love. I refuse. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can be impressed by what he does, but I'm not taking it seriously until I see it week to week to week to week, and I see his floor, you know, get closer to where his ceiling is, because there's too much variance right now.
Yeah. And Frank, so the Packers, they lost that game. They're still 5-2-1, although let's be real, that tie against the Cowboys, that should be a loss. They're really 5-3 in my mind. But that division last year, the NFC North was the best division in football. This year, it's pretty good again. Every team is at least 500 or better. You know, Vikings are 4-4. You got the Packers are 5-2-1. Lions are 5-3. Bears are 5-3. That should be a good race throughout the rest of the season.
I still think it's between Detroit and Green Bay. I think the Vikings are a cute story. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how good JJ McCarthy is. Yeah. He could be good. He could not be. Who knows? And then with the Bears, Caleb is just too much of a wild card. I don't know. I don't have enough trust in Caleb to really hitch my horse to that wagon. Jordan Love's also a wild card, but I trust Matt LaFleur more than I do than I do anybody else in that division, and that's including Coach Campbell in Detroit. But out of those four, Detroit and Green Bay are the ones I trust the most. And between Green Bay and Detroit, I guess it just depends whoever has home field that particular day. Both teams could be really, really good, especially if Detroit's playing with a lead with a running game, or when Jordan Love is dissecting secondaries like he's done in games past. But to me it's up to four guys in that division: the two coaches, Campbell, LaFleur, and Goff and Love.
Yeah, and Tristan, if the North isn't the best division, maybe it's the NFC West. You've got the Seahawks at 6-2, you've got the Rams at 6-2, you got the Niners at 6-3. Hell, even the Cardinals, had they not blown that weird game against the Titans a few weeks back, they'd be 4-4. So that division right there is very much a battle.
Statistically, I still will go with it. I probably will go with the AFC West as the best overall, just because I feel like the teams are better, just more well-rounded. Your three teams with good to really good defenses, and the Raiders. I still like the North is obviously very competitive. All four of those teams, I could see like sneaking into the playoffs in some type of way. I just think Chicago, like I said, there's too much variance there with offensively and defensively. They're solid, but they're not really good. I think Minnesota has a quarterback issue, not necessarily a quarterback problem. JJ McCarthy has had moments. He's made some really good throws. Can he do that consistently? Can he be a consistent good quarterback? Do they have enough of a run game? And that defense can also be depending on the matchup. I still have to take the West. And even like the NFC West, how much do we believe in the 49ers? Like, there's just too much injury there. I think Seattle's the best team in that division. No, I'm lying. I think the Rams are the best team in that division, along with Seattle right behind them. Cardinals, they're going to be scrappy. I feel like that's the next step for them is like, hey, can you be a team that we can expect this level of effort every week? Getting rid of Kyler Murray helps, apparently. Your franchise quarterback, quote unquote, helps. That's not a good thing. But we still don't know what to expect from them on a week-to-week basis. So I still go with the AFC West as far as having the better strength quality of teams, but the NFC North and the NFC West are not far behind.
Yeah. And then the opposite end of the spectrum, you have the NFC East, where you have the defending champion Eagles are 6-2. The rest of the division is a mess. Frank, you want to talk about the Commanders with Jaden Daniels? Suffered a gruesome injury on Sunday Night Football. We can talk about the Cowboys here. Obviously, the Giants are 2-7. They're a cross-off team. Take it wherever you want to go.
The Eagles can be on cruise control and win a division with ease. Beginning of the season, I was really big on Jaden Daniels in year two. I have concerns with their play calling. I have concerns with Cliff Kingsbury. And I need Jaden Daniels. So those injury concerns with him come out of college. And I'm not saying that this dislocated elbow is something that I expected from him. It looked like it was a freak injury, but why the fuck was he in that game for one, down 30 in the second half? I had a problem with that. But on top of that, I need Jaden Daniels to get in the lab. I need him to gain some weight, and I need him to stop running him so fucking much. He runs a lot. There's a lot of RPO stuff with him that I don't like. That team is old. It's an old roster in Washington. And I think Washington came in with this mindset, well, we made the NFC Championship game last year, so we don't have to prove anything and just ride Jaden Daniels and see where we can go. Like, no, you need to put together a comparable roster, a competent roster. And Washington looks like they came in trying to ride the coattails of last season without adding any pieces to this season to get better. The Cowboys are Cowboys. They're going to be the most exciting 8-9 team the nation has seen thus far. You're going to see a lot of 35 35 to 28 games, 24 to 28 games, and then losing in the last quarter, or them sleepwalking through the first half and making it interesting in the second and fourth quarter. That's what they are. Like that's what they are. The Giants, I had hope for the Giants as far as just entertainment value. But when Cam Scatterboo got hurt, I just lost interest in the Giants because I thought Dart and Scatterboo for me was like a tandem, and without Scatterboo there, they can't run the football now. So it's the Eagles, man. I mean, with all the issues the Eagles have with AJ Brown and them not running the ball with high efficiency and not getting Saquon touches, and Jalen Hurts missing guys left and right when they decide to throw the ball, that's still a 13-win team. So it's a foregone conclusion that team is the Eagles. That division's the Eagles for the taking. Yeah,
no question. So today was the NFL trade deadline. It expired this afternoon. Let's go over some of these trades and which team kind of came out the best today on the trade deadline day. So the Colts got Sauce Gardner, cornerback from the Jets. The Jets are loading up for the draft the next couple of years. They got a ton of draft picks today. They also traded Quinn Williams to the Cowboys, and the Cowboys also acquired, like I said, Logan Wilson from the Bengals, a linebacker. You had the Saints trade wide receiver Rashid Shaheed to the Seahawks. Seahawks have maybe the best receiver already in the NFL this year, and Jackson Smith-Njigba. And now you're adding another speed guy. He can really open it up there with Sam Darnold and company. The Dolphins traded one of their pass rushers to the Eagles. Jalen Phillips is going to Philadelphia. Tristan, when you hear these moves, does anything kind of move the needle for you?
Yeah, the Jets. I think the Jets were the team. I mean, I think the Eagles made a good move.
Yeah,
to get Jalen Phillips. I thought that was for a team that can win the Super Bowl. I thought that was the best move that I saw. But the Jets smartly said, "Hey, we need to rebuild." Now the question becomes with the Jets is, do they have the right people in place to make those decisions? But I thought that at the very least they came up with a plan, right? And this also tells me that at least for now, that ownership really believes in Aaron Glenn and his ability to really from the ashes build up a culture. So that's a good thing. Hopefully he shows it more than he has so far. But the Jets stood out to me, and also we saw two teams who made these very big win now moves. Who I don't think. For different reasons, right? For the Cowboys, they made the trade for Quinn Williams, which is a complete reversal from what they said was the plan after they traded Micah Parsons, which is, hey, we want to allocate more of our resources to fill in these various holes that we have on the defensive side of the ball. We want to shore up our run game up front. We want to shore up our secondary, which is piss poor. All these things, and they completely reverse course on that within 2 months. Essentially for a player who's not as good as Micah Parsons, essentially, right? You got the first round pick, but essentially you gave up all of the assets that you got from the Micah Parsons trade, right? Making this win now move for Quentin Williams, who definitely improves your D line, but what happens behind him? Because all I see are guys breaking wide open essentially on every play, right? We saw that last night. When the Cardinals needed a 3rd and 12 and 3rd and 15, they got one wide open. McBride, right in the middle of the zone. Nobody around him, So that fixing the Cowboys defense is a 2 to 3 year project, I think. And just getting one guy, especially a guy who's going to be 29. Well, he's 29 now. He's about to be 30. The ceiling on what Quentin Williams can do for your defense, I don't think is as high as what Micah Parsons can do your defense. And I feel like they should have gone all in on just saying, hey, let's get as many picks as we can and really, really, really build out this defense, because Dak Prescott is having a really, really good, not necessarily a great, but a really, really, really good year statistically. And they have 3 wins, right? Whereas we saw the last couple of years, like, hey man, if that can get healthy and you get this on the offense and boom, boom, they can have a Cincinnati type year. And they're actually having a Cincinnati type year, which is that they can put up some points against most teams. And when they go against actual good teams, they can't. And they don't have a defense that can sustain when their offense is not rolling at a high level. That's the Cowboys. On the other side, the Colts essentially made a move that says we believe in Daniel Jones, whether they said it or not. Because again, you make a move for a Sauce Gardner, giving up 2 picks, which is instructive for us as Chiefs fans, with one Trent McDuffie. But that's a move that you make when you feel like, okay, we're not going to need any of these resources to potentially acquire a quarterback going forward. So like we're good with the quarterback position, at least for the next couple of years. Time will tell if they're correct on that. I don't know how great Sauce Gardner is. Right now he was really, really good to great his first couple of years. He might have been the best quarterback in football his first couple of years in the league. He hasn't really been that over the last 2 years. We'll see. Getting that organizational upgrade might help. Being around other good defenders in a good defensive scheme could help. We just don't know how much of a needle mover Sauce Gardner is right now. But like I said, time will tell.
Exactly. I want to shout out Marcy in the chat. She's been killing it with the comments. She said talking about Dak Prescott. Dak is the guy in class that's doing all the work on the group project.
Dak is the guy who does all the work in the group project, but he probably misses two days out the week. He might not be there for every day, so you might have to pick up some days.
Yeah. Frank, your thoughts on the trade deadline? Were you surprised some teams didn't do anything?
Yeah, my Chiefs. We didn't do shit. I don't like. Why how come we didn't get Quentin Williams? I mean, I would love to have Quentin Williams alongside Chris Jones right now. That would have solved a lot of our issues. I don't understand. I was reading the reports the last month. They were talking about D-line help and running back wasn't really much of a priority for them. They didn't do anything. What the fuck? You're 5-4, bro. You can't be happy with this roster. You gotta add something to the mix. You know what I'm saying? To spice things up a little bit. I was really disappointed in the Chiefs not doing anything. The Chargers did a great. I like what the Chargers did. Joe Arnett's gonna be out probably for the year, and they went ahead. I think they got the Saints left tackle to protect Justin Herbert's blind side. I thought that was a great move. I don't agree with the Sauce Gardner pick for the Colts, but I understand it. What that showed me is that with 72, we may not be 72 again for the foreseeable future. Let's go do this shit now. Maybe Sauce needs a change of scenery. That defense was not playing well the last couple of years, but maybe a change of scenery for Sauce might get him back on his game. But surprised by the Chiefs not doing anything. Yeah.
I'm going to offer the Chiefs and the Bills some bail on not making a move. For the Chiefs, while obviously I would have loved for them to get some D-line, some pass rush help. I would have loved them to bring in a running back. That's just not their style. The Chiefs are at the very least are a team that has committed to the long run, looking at long term. They don't really like adding guys into these systems, especially Spags. Spags, the Chiefs have traded for guys. Uchi, they've traded for different guys on the defensive side, only for them to not get any playing time because Spags trusts. He has a certain trust level in those guys who have been in that system for years, and understand how to change coverages, mid play or before the play. There's a lot of trust that goes in there, and he just doesn't give that. We signed, Christian Fulton hasn't played a snap all year, and he's been relatively healthy. You know what I'm saying? They could have activated him, but I just don't feel like Spags has that trust in him. For the running back side, I can understand, even if I don't agree, because we talked about this earlier in the group chat. Since the Chiefs have had Patrick Mahomes, really since they had to cut Kareem Hunt. They haven't really invested much of anything in their running back position. They drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire, in 2019 in the first round. After that, it's been really patchwork. 7th-round guys, washed-up guys like LaShawn McCoy, Le'Veon Bell, hell, Kareem Hunt. They got him off the couch. But I feel like they feel like they have their 3 guys. You got Pacheco for this thing, you have Kareem Hunt for this thing, and you have Brashard Smith for this specific thing. Like they essentially use their running backs as specialists. Again, I don't agree with this at all. I want another Jet McKinnon. I want another guy who can come in and like break. The Chiefs running backs are last in the league in tackles broken. Would that surprise
No, I know.
you if I told you?
That's my concern.
Yeah. But like I do feel like they think, okay, we may not have a running back who can do that thing and that thing, but we have this guy who does that. We have our guy who can get us 4 to 7 yards. We have our guy who can get 4 to 7 yards, but it might look a little bit different. And we have a guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield and maybe break one tackle. I don't agree, but
the patchwork thing bothers me. But on top of that, Pacheco's hurt. Like we don't know when he's coming back, and like they're trying to downplay that he might be available by the bye. I saw that knee turn against Washington. It didn't look good. So it's like if he's out for an extended period of time, you have Elijah Mitchell, who's not been activated all year long, Brashard Smith, who's still trying to figure out, blitz, pass pro protection, and then Kareem Hunt, who can't get more than 2 yards without getting tackled. Like it's.
Kareem's been breaking some, man. Kareem broke a smooth 8-yard run against Washington and Buffalo. Elijah Mitchell's wife is on Twitter, essentially like, hey, he's healthy. He can play.
I mean, it's like this whole patchwork thing. Like, I have dreams of seeing this offense hit another level with a back who can take it to the house. The last 40-yard plus run we had was 3 years ago with Zaire Pacheco against the Jets in the Meadowlands. That was 3 years ago.
I remember that.
That's mind-boggling to me that we haven't had an explosive run of 40 yards or more in 3 fucking years. That's inexcusable. Like, come on, man. Like, we gotta allocate something to the backfield without just making it patchwork every year. Like, just figure out how much easier Pat Mahomes' job is when you have a guy who's back there with him that can threaten to get a 10-yard gain at any point in time or a 20-yard explosive run at any point in time.
Yeah, man. At least with Buffalo, I can say they went for Amari Cooper, didn't work. Von Miller didn't work. Like I think Buffalo is looking at what Kansas City does and say, hey, let's think more long term. Make sure that we have enough for Josh to cook with, and we'll scheme up on the defensive side to at least have a solid defense. I don't think Buffalo is going to be making those same mistakes that they did, just kind of bringing guys in who aren't familiar with that system and trying to like work them in mid-season. I just don't see them doing that again. So I can understand the logic behind them not making these moves. Both of them would have benefited greatly. Again, Chiefs on the running back side and maybe a DN. Buffalo needed a wide receiver. They really need safety help as well. But these are teams that, again, I think these are the 2 best teams in the AFC regardless. It's like, and, Vegas, thinks the same. These are your top 2, like, Super Bowl odds teams. So, yeah, they have, like, these things that can trip them up, but, like, no team is great. You know what I'm saying? So, like, maybe those flaws don't even end up, like, biting them that much in the ass. So, we'll see.
We will see. Frank, anything else about the NFL you want to get to before we talk a little bit of college football?
No, I'm good.
Good. Tristan, anything else football, NFL wise?
I did one last Frank, since Frank brought up Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels needs to watch more Lamar Jackson tape and watch how Lamar Jackson gets away from those hits. Like he uses that speed to get away from the people trying to kill him and not like run into them. Like it's Pat Mahomes in weeks 1 through 3. Like, you know, we don't need that, bro. You're not Cam Newton. Get down. Get down. Him and Caleb Williams are the two quarterbacks the most in the league that I'm screaming at the TV. Throw the ball away. Throw it away. Hey, get rid of it. Get rid of it.
Yeah.
And until he learns that lesson, I don't care how much weight he puts on. He puts himself in two harmful positions, and Dan Quinn doesn't really help by running him like he's, again, Cam Newton in 2011.
No, that's a great point. That's a great point.
Yeah, we need a healthy Jaden Daniels. I mean, especially, I think the Cowboys and Commanders play on Christmas Day. That's one of the main games on Christmas Day is that game, and it's like he's not going to be in that game, and that's a bummer because you know the big time games you want to have the big time players going, and we need more good quarterbacks than fewer. So we'll see what happens with the Commanders and the rest of the league as we, again, we have half the season to go. So a lot of football left to play. And speaking of football, let's go to the college football. Let's go over to the college game tonight. The first college football rankings of the season were released. I'm going to tick them off real quick, then we'll kind of get our thoughts on the season. So Ohio State is number 1, Indiana number 2, A&M number 3, Alabama number 4, Georgia number 5, Ole Miss number 6, BYU number 7, Texas Tech number 8, Oregon number 9, Notre Dame number 10, the University of Texas number 11, and Oklahoma number 12. Those are the 12 best teams in the country according to the committee. However, with college football, you always have the fact that the rankings, you have to have, the ACC has to be represented. So Virginia would actually be in the playoff now, and then you also have the American Athletic Conference. So Memphis is actually now one of those teams in the top 12. And for me, the Memphis spot is very important because my school, the University of North Texas, they're 8-1, and if they can win the conference, they'll be in the playoff. And they have a 24% chance, I believe, according to ESPN. And I'm telling you, if you haven't seen North Texas play this year, it's a treat to watch their quarterback Drew Mestemaker just gun the ball all over the place. But a few weeks ago, he threw for 606 yards or something. I mean, now some of it was on like little bubble screens. The guy took it, for 80 yards or whatever. But North Texas could be in the playoff this year, and I can't believe I'm actually saying that. It's a legitimate chance if they can, beat Memphis in what could potentially be the AAC championship game in December. Tristan, your thoughts on the college football playoff rankings? I know it's super early. We still have, most teams have 3 or 4 games to go, not counting the championship weekends. But any surprises from the teams that they're listed now, or is it kind of what you expected?
Definitely what I expected. I would say that Notre Dame might be my one thing because they have 2 losses, but those are bad losses. It's like they got dominated by A&M, but and Notre Dame is going to make it because the schedule they play and they're Notre Dame. I'm not really mad at it. This is a pretty vanilla ranking for me. Yeah. I will say, if you would have told me after week 2 or 3 that Alabama would be top 4, I would have been surprised. And, obviously it's Alabama, but it looked like that was going off the rails pretty quickly. And like the Caleb DeBoer era was going to end, with a brick through his window as we see in Alabama. So I'm very impressed by how well, not just, the wins, but like they've looked really good. They look like the actual best team. Yeah. Or at least one of the best teams in the SEC, them and A&M. That's my biggest surprise. Not that they're there because it's Alabama, but like the bounce back, because Florida State, they did not look good at all. And they've had some like really close calls, but I do think they have the best quarterback in college football that I've seen this year on a consistent basis. And that defense has gotten better as the season has gone. But was it Ty Simpson? I think he's really good. And I think if you have a guy like that, you could be, if he's playing the way that I see him playing, you can beat pretty much any team in the nation in the playoffs. So that's my biggest surprise.
Yeah. Frank, the University of Texas. Last time we did a podcast last month, I buried the Longhorns, and they're still in it, and they haven't lost since then. They've had a couple games they probably should have lost. They should have lost to Kentucky. They tried to give the game away to Vanderbilt last weekend. They had a crazy comeback to beat Mississippi State, which that's insane to say that Texas had to rally to beat Mississippi State, but they're still in it. They got Georgia coming up in a few weeks. They finish with A&M. That'll be a big one. But do you see the Longhorns making the playoff? I mean, it's not crazy. They definitely could do it.
I don't see it only because the 2 losses early this year. I think the Florida loss that's just a bad loss. When you look back at that loss and Florida, they fired their coach 3 weeks after that. It looks so bad, like a month later, and you put yourself behind the 8 ball now because now you have to beat teams like Georgia and A&M just to be in the dance, right? And I don't see you beating both those
on the
teams.
road.
These are 2. Well, A&M's at home.
Georgia's on the road.
Georgia's in Athens. Like I don't see you beating both of those teams. It's and if you was 8-1 going into Georgia game, lose that game, you at least have the A&M game to look forward to. They dismantled Oklahoma, but hell, Oklahoma doesn't look good either since their quarterback got back from injury with thumb injury from a few weeks ago either. So I don't see them getting the playoffs, and deservedly so. They don't deserve to be in the playoffs. They can't beat Georgia and A&M. I don't want to see any type of like talk like, oh well, this is the brand and they play in the SEC. No, they damn near gave away game to Vanderbilt. They had to score 21 in the fourth quarter to beat Mississippi State. Like I don't want to hear this brand thing and like they bring ratings. The 12 best teams should be in the playoffs. And if Texas can't beat Georgia and A&M, they shouldn't be in the conversation. And this comes from a Texas fan. So the Notre Dame talk, man, I don't know why they're in the top 12. Like they lost A&M. The best win thus far is USC on October 18th. Florida State ain't shit. They're not good anymore. And their next 4 games, they don't play anybody to help turn the tide. They play Navy, Pittsburgh, Syracuse, and Stanford. Like, if they go 4-0 and other teams play well, they should be out of the top 12 because the schedule is so bad. Like, they should have. It had to be A&M. Then I'm like, okay, cool. You have a signature win. But if USC is your best win, I don't think you should be in the top 12.
Agreed.
I mean, I wonder if it's the thing they were in the title game last year, and obviously they're the brand. They're a big brand. I mean, like that's the kind of stuff that does come into play.
Yeah, but the quarterback Lloyd was not Lloyd Carr. It's his grandson,
CJ Carr. Yeah,
CJ Carr. He's just the offense is not fun to watch. It's a very blah offense, and it's very run oriented first. And if they don't jump on people early on, they struggle manufacturing drives, long drives. And I don't know if they're top 12 worthy. Like I would take if Memphis goes undefeated, well they'll be in because they have the automated bid, but or North Texas. But I don't think Notre Dame should be in it. Oklahoma being 12 is ridiculous to me too. Or being 11 is ridiculous to me too. Like they just lost to a South Carolina team that's been reeling all year. They got worked by Texas in the Red River Shootout, and then they have LSU coming up. I think they play Bama coming up. Like they're going to get worked like a part-time job over the next 3 weeks. So,
well, they might beat LSU though because LSU is one of a number of schools that fired their coach.
Or they may. LSU might rally. I mean, a lot of these coaches got fired. These teams rallied over the last few weeks too.
Good point. But so the open jobs right now, this is an insane list: Penn State, UCLA, Oklahoma State, Florida, LSU, Auburn, Arkansas, Virginia Tech, Colorado State, Stanford, Oregon State, UAB. Tristan, of those jobs, which one is the one that you would take, or the one that anyone should take?
I was going to ask y'all the same question. I really want to know what do you feel like is the best job and the worst job? For me, the best job, Florida. I'm gonna still say Florida. Yeah. I still think Florida is a really one. I mean, the breeding ground. Like it's like your recruiting area. Like that state is ripe with great talent. Where Florida has struggled to me is obviously quarterback talent, but getting like consistent skilled players to get to Florida. Like those guys are going, now to Miami. They're going into the SEC. Few years back, those guys were in Clemson. You know what I'm saying? Like they need to get those guys to not just stay in Florida, but like Florida needs to get back to looking like that's the Florida school. And they need to like really dominate that ground. Whoever the next coach is needs to dominate Florida, right? Before they can start talking about moving into Louisiana and getting guys there, getting guys out of, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas. But Florida, I think, is the best job there. LSU, I think, is a decent job when LSU fans remember that they're LSU, and not Bama Junior, or Georgia Junior. Like LSU historically, not a great program as far as like championships. Their history starts with Nick Saban. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's pretty much it. So I think LSU can be a good job, but their leadership, the fans, the boosters, they have the ambitions of being like a top tier SEC school, which is simply not. But I would say Florida and then LSU. Those are my top two.
See, I think with LSU, like, you're obviously the biggest school in the state. Like you're the school that everyone in that state wants to go to. You look around the NFL, there's a lot of talent that played at LSU in the NFL. So I think that's probably the best job. I agree though. Like Florida, LSU to me are the top two of those. Frank, what's your thoughts on which is the best open job right now?
Fuck. I would say as far as resources, I'd probably say Florida. I just think with them being, I mean, that area, Dade County and going up to Tallahassee, there's a lot of talent there. I think people forget that Florida's a great job because the people who've been in Florida has done such a poor job keeping talent in the States.
Yeah.
Like a lot of guys get poached out of Florida now. Like Texas, CJ Baxter's from Florida. Like the running backs from Florida. Like they, a lot of guys get poached out of there because previous regimes can't keep the talent there in state. But I think Florida is the best job. After that, I like Penn. I think Penn State's a good job too, only because the boosters are gonna break bread. And anytime boosters are comfortable in paying $51 million in buyout money, you got bread. Yeah. You got bread. And that Northeast area is a hotbed of talent too. Like Penn State, they rarely come out of that area. They recruit all in that area in the Midwest. So they have great facilities there. And I would say LSU's probably last as far as like Tristan said, but they don't. Their history is more so of like being a Bama, like trying to beat Bama. They're more concerned about trying to beat Bama than like actually being a power brand. They're so regulated to like Louisiana and like in the very regional. It's not a national brand like Bama and like
they're the Michigan of the South.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. Like Michigan's notoriety is we got to beat Ohio State. That's like the rallying cry for the season, not a championship. If the winning championship is great, but their rallying cry is beat the Buckeyes. And I think with LSU, it's so germane to we got to beat the Crimson Tide to like show how much we matter. And
Michigan has won 2 national championships. I want to say in the last 60 years, right? LSU is about the same.
Yeah.
Like these are 2 teams that, like you said, these are regional powerhouses because they are the absolute big dog in their state. Right. But they're most known for like their chief rival or who they're trying to like catch up to than being this consistent national championship contender. That's just not been the history of Michigan or LSU.
Yeah, they're the Red Sox, not the Yankees.
Yeah.
Right.
And now, and here's another thing too, that these programs, they keep firing these coaches. Who are you gonna get? That's my whole thing. Like, what is the plan of, like, you fire Franklin? Look, man, Franklin was just in the top 4 in the semifinals last year. Just 8 months ago, he was in the semifinal game.
Yeah.
And you fired him, and you just gave him a new contract 2 years ago. So you had no problem paying that buyout money. Hey man, you got money to burn, cool. Who are you getting, bro? Who's coming there?
There's only but so many good coaches who aren't, fleeing to the NFL because they, tired of NIL and just of the changing landscape of college football. There's not that many great college football coaches. There's not really that many great college football assistants, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think I wrote my thesis on this, but the corporatization of college football has kind of led us to the point where these teams are essentially operating like professional teams. Hell, you have teams in the Big Ten who are out seeking, private equity money. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are things that professional teams and professional leagues have to worry about. But because there's so much money being filtered in, essentially teams have a payroll. They have a roster with guys who they have to, we've said this a billion times tonight, but like, allocate these resources to different players and assistant coaches who are like recruiting specialists, boost, so on and so forth. They're like, yeah, like, there's just more pressure. You need to win now because we need to get a return on this investment. And we're so far gone from, a coach like, hell, Lloyd Carr, who could have a couple losing seasons here and there, as long as you beat Ohio State, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And lasting for however long he lasted. Jim Tressel lasted for long. He lasted. Like, they're not allowed to have down seasons anymore because, again, like, the amount of money that's being poured into the sport is so high that it becomes a professional team, and college in name only.
There were talks of like Ohio State firing Ryan Day last year after the Michigan game.
Yeah.
He's won 88% of his games. like make that make sense. Like there was talk. Like he almost didn't make it to New Year's because of that Michigan loss, and he won the championship. So it's, and then like today, and like kind of piggyback what Tristan said, these blue blood mindset, it doesn't really matter anymore with these kids. It's like, who's paying the most money,
Exactly.
and if you're a coach, if you're Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, Lane's making 9.5 a year at Ole Miss, and Ole Miss is happy to win 8 games. If they win 8 games, they're happy. Like, it's hey man, we cool, bro. We beat Tennessee and beat 3 powder puffs and played close to the best of LSU. We lost, but we're 8-4. Like, if I'm making 10 a year, I'm going 8-4 with the expectations not being pretty much middle ground, and I can sneak in a 10-1 or 10-2 season every 3 years and be happy with that. As a coach, do I want to leave that? Like, I don't know. Like, if Penn State's offering me 13, but I'm making 10, and 8 games is the barometer of my franchise, but Penn State thinks they're Alabama, they should be in the 10-11 win scale. Do I want to risk that to make 13 for 2 years and get fired anyways by year 3? I don't know. Like these are things that coaches are starting to think about. That's why Indiana signed Scanetti to another pay raise a couple weeks ago. Like, he got pay raise back in January in Indiana. He got another one after Penn State fired Franklin. Like, these coaches now are starting to realize, hey man, like, it's not always greener on the side. I'd rather stay here in Indiana or stay here at Ole Miss. Make this a power. Not even a power. Make us relevant to where people are talking about us while having job security. So
I think it's time for colleges to get that same mentality. Like, you're not going to win 12 wins every year. Like, you're going to have down years, right? Recruiting is going to be up and down because there's so many different factors thrown into the mix now. Like, if you have a good coach, you might want to stick with them. One, because it's just financially responsible to not be paying $45-50 million buyouts,
Right.
Some of them in lump sums. when that money could be allocated to different things that, schools need, communities need, so on and so forth, if only they cared. But like, these are not professional teams. And like, the college football, basketball landscape is so muddied now that you can't go by these same rules. Like, hey, this team is supposed to win this game or X amount of games. Like, that's just not going to happen. And it's just not going to be consistent. It's just too many factors.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, too, one more point, and then we can move on. Coaches see how other coaches are being done and treated. Like, if you're a coach who is a hot commodity, if you're Scanetti in Indiana, or you're Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, and you saw James Franklin just get dogged after going to the semifinal game and getting fired and embarrassed the way he did, as a coach, do you want to follow that? I don't know. Like, I don't like, these guys are getting fired left and right for, stupid ass reasons, and I think it's deterring coaches from, like, and I'm not saying a coach won't take that job. Somebody will take that job. I'm talking about like a hot commodity name, or a guy who has skin in the game. If you're Dabo Sweeney, like, you're not taking that job in Penn State. You're not taking that job in LSU. I saw Obady got dogged. I saw how Franklin just got dogged. Why would I risk my job security of taking that job only to get fired in 2 years if I go 8-5 or 9-4?
Yeah, I mean, it's changed the landscape in college football. I mean, in college basketball also, where everyone is a free agent after every season. So
yeah,
I wonder, like, Tristan, you mentioned these huge buyouts. When will the schools maybe devalue the coach's name and just get somebody? Like, look at Mike Elko at Texas A&M. He's not a big name coach. He might become one. I mean, A&M's undefeated right now. They're number 3 in the rankings. Who knows? Maybe they win the national title this year. I don't know that a ton of people know who Mike Elko is that aren't following college football every Saturday, So maybe you can, I mean, for example, I mentioned North Texas, but like, I mean, I'm honest, like, the coach at North Texas, he's not going to be the coach next year. He's going to find a bigger job. He's going to move on. There's so many openings. I mean, one of the jobs I mentioned that I think could be a job that someone could win right away next year is Oklahoma State, because you're in the Big 12. There's a lot of money there. Look at Texas Tech. Texas Tech came out of nowhere. They threw a lot of money around. They're playing BYU on Saturday. It's basically kind of an early de facto Big 12 title game before the Big 12 title game, like in a month. They're likely, I mean, they're in the playoff rankings right now. They're likely going to be in the playoff. You never would have thought that in the past, right? Texas Tech to come out of nowhere to do that. Oklahoma State could be right back in it next year with the right quarterback, with the right offensive coordinator. I mean, like, it's not as hard as it used to be. You just got to sign a couple of the right guys, and then you're off to the races.
Don't hold your breath, Oklahoma State fans.
You're
still in Oklahoma, and you're not Oklahoma.
But you're in the Big 12 though. Like, you're not.
But you kind of said that. Like, does that matter? Does it matter simply that you're in the Big 12?
No, you just have money. Look at SMU. I mean, SMU's throwing a lot of money around. I don't know that a ton of kids grew up wanting to be a pony, right? But if they pony up the money, they're like, hell yeah, I'll go play there.
But we mentioned Texas Tech. Texas Tech might be sorry next year, for all we know. Like, because again, the free agency, the year-to-year thing.
Yeah,
they got a lot of transfers, threw a lot of money around, and it's the volatile nature of this year-to-year thing that you can't depend on that. Oklahoma State, I just feel like has too many things working against them as far as location, who they're going up against, the school that's in the same state as them.
Yeah.
And they just haven't been relevant, honestly, for the better part of a decade. But I mean, like, they any team, they, like I said, they could have a 1-year resurgence and come back down to earth.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's going to be the norm, though. I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, if someone said Vanderbilt is a playoff team or a playoff caliber team, you'd be like, no way, not Vanderbilt. They are now. Like, it's just the way it is right now. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out with the college football season. This is a football podcast, but before we go, I want to talk about the NBA a little bit, because the NBA returned 2 weeks ago, and this season we have some new broadcasting partners that are carrying the games. Although NBC's not new, but they've been out of the game for almost 20 something years. So the NBA is back on NBC. Amazon Prime is a new partner carrying games. And of course, you got ESPN, ABC, who now has Inside the NBA sometimes as their halftime show and pregame show and postgame show. Tristan, I want to start with you. Let's talk about the coverage of the NBA, not so much the season. Let's just talk about how these games are being shown and what we're hearing on our, on these broadcasts. Do you like so far the presentation that these three are providing after 2 weeks?
Love it. Absolutely love it. I think between Amazon, NBC, and ESPN, I think Amazon and NBC are showing ESPN what it should look like.
Yeah.
And you see the stark difference when you go from, NBC night to Amazon night to ESPN. Like, there's just a big drop off there. I think I love that the focus has been on what's happening in the game and like educating the casual fan. Like,
it's not hot take stuff. It's not hot takes. It's actually basketball. Yeah.
Right. Like I think, we've let the basketball discourse kind of stray so far away from like what's actually important that the other stuff has become the norm now, to where it's radical to see Tim Legler breaking down film on the telestrator. Like, oh my God, like, people want to see this. Like, yeah, people do want to see this. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we I feel like if you treat the customer with respect and show them what's important, then customers and the audiences react and they adjust. We see this with the NFL all the time. The best show on television is NFL Live. And like, there's nothing boisterous about it. Nobody's screaming. Like, it's actually a very tame show when you really if you just kind of turn into NFL Live, you're gonna see the music's low. Like, they're having like just really calm, logical conversations. And I think that
intellectual conversation at that too.
Very intellectual conversations, like, nuanced disagreement, so on and so forth. Yeah. So I love that what I'm seeing. Hell, a great example. We saw what happened with Ja Morant. Ja Morant got suspended for a game, conduct detrimental to the team. And I watched, Blake Griffin and Jamal Crawford, Vince Carter, like this over the course of Amazon and NBC, discuss Carmelo Anthony as well, discuss Ja Morant and his suspension and like critique him without, like you said, like these super boisterous, hyperbolic takes and things that like immediately go viral. I watched nuanced conversations. I watched them like handle that with care. These are a bunch of retired players, so they're close enough to like understand what's happening and to provide context, but also show grace when necessary. And like we just need more. I think we need more of that in television, from politics to the way we discuss music and sports and just the arts in general. So I love what I've seen from ABC and NBC. NBC and Amazon, and I'm hoping ESPN continues to follow that trend on the daily shows as well as like the NBA broadcast.
Yeah, Frank, your thoughts on the coverage? I don't know if you've watched much of Amazon, but they've got Dirk and Steve Nash working on their crew in the studio crew.
I don't want to lie to you. I have not watched any of the Amazon coverage. Can't say that I have.
Okay.
I have seen the NBC coverage, and I do like. I'm a nostalgia guy, so like just hearing the NBC theme from the 90s,
Round Ball Rock, it's back.
Oh my God, I love that, man, and hearing Bob Costa's voice, and the only thing I don't like is MJ talking about shit from the past. I don't give a fuck about any of that shit, bro. I don't care about any of that. Like, talk about things going on now. Like, I don't care about the shit from like the low Mandarin conversation was cool, but like the part one of the conversation he was talking about whether he misses the game. I have the Last Dance. If I want to hear you talk, I'll go to the Last Dance and watch that shit. I feel like they can use Jordan in a more of an NBA now perspective, more so than from nostalgia purposes. But the matchups for me have been very lackluster so far. As far as like on Prime and like on NBC, I think they had Hawks and Bucks tonight. Like, I don't I don't give a shit. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Hawks Magic tonight.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Hawks Magic.
Yeah.
And like last week was what? I think it was Orlando and somebody else. I'm like, these. I'm guessing they're waiting to twilight football season to like really put the premier matches up there.
Yeah.
But I haven't watched much of Prime to really give you a formulated opinion. But the NBC one's pretty cool.
I do like showcasing some of the younger up and coming teams early in the season and like filtering those teams. Like, I mean, the NFL does the same thing. Like NFL will give you the Titans on a random Monday night or Thursday night, and then you won't see them again after Thanksgiving, rightfully so. I do like that. I love hearing old dudes. As an old dude now, I love hearing old dudes just kind of like talk about all the stuff that they hate about certain things. Sometimes when it's done right, I think we can get carried away with it at times, but I do think Michael Jordan comes with a level of reverence about these things to where here's my thing, and I don't want to get into. I was going to get into a rant. I'm still might get into a rant about like the way that these games are presented, as far as logistically. But I do feel like, one of my biggest pet peeves with basketball discourse is that we've gotten away from like the core of like what's important, and that's why I do think like having Michael Jordan there is kind of significant because one thing Michael Jordan, he may sound like an old dude, whatever, but like. He's also the premium old dude, and like he cares about the things that are core to basketball. And like on his face, when he says, "Hey man, you play basketball for 3 hours a day. What are you doing with the rest of your day?" That just makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? And I think we need to like with our basketball discourse, just the way kids approach the game, younger players approach the game. We need to get back to like the core of stuff, like. That's why the Ja Morant thing is hitting because it's like, bro, like we're so far removed from players acting like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, when's the last time you saw a star player get suspended for conduct detrimental? Like, that just doesn't happen because
Ben Simmons.
A star, I mean.
Star.
There may be some confusion there, but like just getting back to like the core of the game, like, and I think that's what this first season of like NBC and Amazon is about. Is like just getting back to the core values of the game. And I think having Michael Jordan there kind of illustrates that a little bit more. I don't think we'll see him after the season. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he's providing any like necessary live insight, but
that's the part I would like to see is like him doing live insight. Like you are the guy you're the king of kings. I want to hear what your take is right now on the game, on like right now from this particular game or this particular issue or scenario. I mean,
I think we'll get to that at some point, or not. You know what I'm saying? But I do like
the nigga is satellite from his house, like from in the Hamptons. Like what the fuck? Like
that shit looks cool as fuck, man. Let's be real. That shit looks cool as fuck, man. Come on,
that nigga looked like he was watching like the Masters and Trico came in there. Hey man, you mind talking for 5 minutes before the 15th hole? Is that okay? That's what it looks like.
They took LeBron and previously JJ Redick, now Steve Nash, and their whole podcast, and they just took that shit and expanded it. It's like a fireside chat with Michael Jordan. Sign me the fuck up for a fireside chat with Michael Jordan. Please sign me up. Like, I don't think we're going to get a ton of these throughout the season or even after the season, but I like seeing it, man. Give me 5 minutes of just Michael Jordan just talking about anything. I don't care, man. Throw some KG in there. Like, we could do so many other things with that.
Yeah, I love the Jordan stuff, of course, but I do agree with Frank because you can tell it's just they had one big interview and they're going to cut it up into pieces every week and just give us like 3 or 4. I would prefer if he were. Maybe he doesn't have to be on set, but maybe you're right. Maybe he can do a Zoom call or he can give his thoughts or weekly kind of things about the NBA because I think that would be important. But I do just want to shout out the way NBC presents the game. They make it feel like they do the same thing to do with the NFL. I don't know if y'all noticed this but like their games look better. Like Sunday Night Football looks better than Monday Night Football. And it's not just because the matchup's better. aesthetically, visually, when you're watching, the colors pop. There's just something about it. The NBC coverage back in the day, if you go back and watch those games like on, like a classic game or, you know, what am I trying to say? What's it called? Courtside Classics or whatever it's called on NBA TV when they show these NBC games. Those games weren't filmed in HD per se, but those games still hold up. Whereas you watch like an ESPN ABC game from like 2004, it looks pretty rough nowadays. Like it does not look as good.
I've been doing these finals rewatches
Yeah.
from like 1991 to currently. Like I think I'm right now like 2003.
Yeah.
And you see the difference, like as they switch from NBC to ESPN
Right.
that very year. I
Yeah.
think 2002, 2003 was the first
That was
year
the year.
that ESPN. Yeah. We were seniors in high school. I really remember that. But you see like just the drop off in coverage, the drop off in like the presentation, like you said, of the game.
Yeah.
The voiceovers telling you why this game is important, the necessary context, the
Yeah.
thing that makes football so big. It's like, hey,
Right.
it's not just a game. This game is the biggest game that we have, and let me tell you why. And I miss that, and I'm happy they're bringing that back.
Yeah.
I miss like the black background with the player interview talking about the game, like how big this matchup is going to be, and like them showing clips from like previous games from that season. Like NBC made it seem like every game they were playing was part of a series of like of like games, and like there was like it was almost like the Iliad type of storytelling. Like NBC was Homer, and they were just like showcasing the story out to you of the Odyssey between like the Kings and Lakers or whatever, or like
bro, like a Magic, a Heat Knicks game in like February on a Saturday used to feel like tense. I used to be watching like bated breath, like, man, what's going to happen? Like, and it's game 57. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we need to bring back. Tell us why these games are important. Right? Otherwise, they just become game 6 out of 82, and that dilutes the product as a whole.
I mean, just last week, go back. You can find this social media pretty anywhere. Bob Costas has a 90-second intro to Bucks Knicks. We're talking about late October. He explains in 90 seconds the rivalry between two franchises and why this game matters. I'm telling you, like, that got me. I'm like, I'm going to watch this game. There's no way I would have watched that game last year. You couldn't have paid me to watch that game last year. In like late October, a Bucks Knicks game, like who cares? But like, they do such a good job with the presentation. I think having Mike Tirico as their main play-by-play guy, and then Noah Eagles, their other play-by-play guy, they just have Mike Tirico has a gravitas. He's the Sunday Night Football guy. He's the guy that called a lot of games for ESPN back in the day, with the NBA. And like
Malice in the Palace.
Yeah, he was there. Yeah. I think having these people apart, and just honestly, just having the name Michael Jordan attached, because Michael Jordan was synonymous with the NBA and NBC. Like the Bulls' rise was at the same time when NBC got 90-91 was the first year the NBA was on NBC, and that was also the first year the Bulls won the title. And I mean, like Michael Jordan and the Round Ball Rock song is synonymous with Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. So like, it's I just think NBC is doing everything right. And I like what Amazon's doing. I like having Blake Griffin with Dirk, with Steve Nash, Udonis Haslem. I think that's a good crew. Like that, they have a good. They're the guys that are on the court, like showing you, like, oh hey, here's this screen roll action. Here's what they're doing. I like that kind of stuff. But I want to finish off with, what do y'all think about seeing the Inside the NBA crew on ESPN? And because we talked about how like when NBC went away and ABC, ESPN picked it up, that's when TNT really started to rise, because they upped their production value. I think the TNT games look the second best behind NBC. TNT is no more as far as the NBA coverage. However, they still do produce Inside the NBA and then lease the show to ESPN. Tristan, what have you watched much of? They've had a couple of weeks of Inside the NBA on ESPN. What do you think about it? Does it fit ESPN, or does it feel weird watching that show in the middle of ESPN's games?
I think the actual production of it doesn't look weird. It's still the same dynamic. They kind of, the thing I kind of worried about, because with ESPN, when you do get like these halftime shows, it's like these small bites of it. You know, like you're not getting enough, but they kind of go commercial free during that time. So you do get an extended halftime show. Obviously, you get the pre and post game. So that part doesn't feel weird. For me, it's just like for 20 something years of my life, really more than that, honestly. I've been watching Inside the NBA since I was 12, 12, 13. So almost 30 years. I'm used to this being on Thursday, like that's a staple in our lives. And then eventually became Tuesday, Thursday. So like this gets into like my overall issue with game watching. I don't want to go too long on this, but on one hand, I don't want to sound like too spoiled because I do remember a time where we could not get all this much access to NBA games. You were kind of restricted to, hey, your local team and then national games, whatever game you could find on maybe a Bulls game is on TBS, TNT, so on and so forth. So I do appreciate the fact that there are avenues for me to watch these games because I'm a basketball addict and I just watch Milwaukee and Toronto, fam, on a Tuesday night while sick. You know what I'm saying? But one of my issues with innovation of technology is that over the course of the last few years, I don't feel like these technology has necessarily made things better, right? They made things more profitable, and those two things don't always work in concert. So like I'm used to at the very least last year, all the NBA League Pass games were on YouTube TV. I have YouTube TV. So I could go between pretty much every NBA game outside of a Rockets game, which I have to watch on another app. Okay, that's a compromise I'm willing to make. Now, because they've taken League Pass from YouTube TV and spread it across the NBA app, which is piss poor, and has been piss poor for as long as I've had it, right, which is about 20 years. Amazon, Peacock, you name it, there's all these different apps that you have to kind of go back in between. HBO Max now, all these. So it's like what I've kind of found out is that I can't watch multiple games at one time anymore because it's just not the avenue, right? You can watch multiple games on the NBA app, but it's not functional. So I find myself locking in on one game, which I think is better for my attention span, right? But I think that's a trend that you're going to see where we're going to, just by process of elimination, we're going to be more it's going to be more of a monolith on what games people are watching and paying attention to, right? You might go on social media and see the majority of your feed talking about the national game, whatever game is on ESPN or NBC, but you're not going to see 800 people talking about 800 games anymore, I don't think, because everything's so spread out. We just don't have the capabilities or the attention spans or time to watch every single game on every single different platform. So I am frustrated on how inaccessible these games are, despite them being more accessible than ever. And that has kind of cheapened my NBA watching experience so far. But overall, I'm pleased with the presentation, the new presentation, the new partnerships that they've had. And I hope that, overall makes the overall basketball watching and discourse a lot better.
Amen. Frank, thoughts on Inside the NBA on ESPN or just all this stuff? Just trying to find a game on an app.
Yeah, I don't. It's maybe this whole out of pocket scramble of trying to find NBA games has made me question how much I really love NBA basketball enough to really focus on trying to find these games. I used to watch League Pass on YouTube TV. It was easy, picture in picture, 3 games, 4 games. I could keep tabs on everything. Now I don't want to do the homework of trying to find listings of where games are at now. It's not I like a hub of having 4 or 5 games on this on this station, on this app, and be able to like navigate through those games from this one app. When I have to, I'm old, bro. Like, I'm not gonna watch a game on HBO Max and be like, hey, I wonder what Cleveland and Indiana's doing, and get out of that app and go into Peacock and watch that game and leave Peacock again. I'm not doing all of that. I refuse to. I don't love basketball that much to do that kind of work to find games. So I'll, in the meantime, I'll just watch one game on a Tuesday night on Peacock, and then ESPN Wednesday, and then after that, I worry about that after football season's over with.
Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna see late in this, or once football season's over. Because what I've read is that once Sunday Night Football goes away, NBC is going to use that slot for, they're going to call it Basketball Night in America. They're going to have a game of the week kind of thing on a Sunday night. And I think for us, I think that's honestly going to be kind of you're kind of turning back the clock, but they're giving us that one premier event game of the week. And I think that's going to get a lot of people back in. I really do, because it's almost like, and I've always said this, like, the thing about football, why football is so popular is because it's a 1 week. It's an event every week. If the NFL, if they played 4 or 5 games a week, first of all, the players would die. But if the players who did survive, like, eventually fans would just go, oh, I can't watch the Texans tonight. I'll watch them when they play the Cowboys on Friday. And I'm only going to watch the game. You couldn't keep up with it, just like with baseball. Not many people watch 162, of their favorite team. Some people do, but it's tough to do. But the advantage the NFL has it's one game a week. It's easy to kind of carve out, hell, they have their own day. Sunday belongs to the National Football League, and basketball and baseball don't really have those days. And I think that by NBC carving out their football day when football goes away and putting basketball in that spotlight, I think it's only going to help the game, and it's going to help people like us who maybe we don't have the time or the wherewithal to want to follow these games through all these apps and all these different channels. But there's going to be one big game a week that's going to be presented to us the perfect way. You're going to hear the nostalgic music, and I don't know. I think that's a good idea. And maybe sometimes less is more, honestly. It really is.
I think having less access to these games. I mean, we have the access, but like you said, we don't have the time or the attention span.
Yeah.
Or a lot of times the functionality to just kind of move effortlessly between these apps to go from game to game. So, hey, man, lock in on one game. Hey, tonight, this is the game I care about, right? And I'm going to focus in on that. I think you will see more fans kind of finding their way back to their local teams because it's just easier to watch, right? And I think we've gotten so far away from people rooting for the teams that are closest to them. And maybe we get back to that, man. Maybe we get back to having these canon events where everybody's focused on Warriors, Lakers, or Mavs this, Rockets this, or Thunder this. So maybe this overall will be a good thing. Like you said, less is more.
Yeah.
And I don't think the NBA cares because they signed a 11-year deal. So the money's already is in their pockets now. So they signed the $1.9 billion deal with Amazon Prime and the $2.5 billion deal with Peacock and NBC. And it's part of a largest $76 billion deal with Disney, NBC, and Amazon. So they got their money. So they don't give a shit.
But they do care though, because they want to sign a bigger deal next time. And and unlike the NFL where the popularity continues to grow, even if it's small. I mean, it keeps growing. The NBA, it's gone the other way. So they're trying to get more people back into it. And I know globally the NBA is obviously a bigger sport than the NFL, but here in this country, the NFL is king. College football is second. I'm not sure. Is the NBA third? Maybe. I guess it's third. I'm not sure. I guess
the World Series
or the World
Game 7 got 25 million votes to 25 votes.
Yeah.
25 million people watching.
Right.
To the NBA Finals was 17 in Game 7.
Game 7. Yeah,
that sounds about right. Yeah, so that's why they've got to up the presentation. If that means giving us a game of the week, and it's it's LeBron, Luka, and the Lakers against the Steph and the Warriors, but it's presented it's the Bulls, Knicks in the '90s. I'm all for it. Whatever it takes.
But the load management thing's a problem, though.
Definitely.
That's a big problem. For me, I got lucky. I went to a Christmas Day game last year when the Mavs played the Timberwolves. Luka got hurt that game, but that was the last game I went to. When the game before that was in 2022 when Tristan and I went to Philadelphia to watch Steph against the Sixers. Like I don't go to NBA games often because I'm afraid to buy tickets and then guys don't suit up, and it's becoming a larger problem now with these guys. Like Jordan said, look, man, you play basketball for 3 fucking hours, and there's no excuse why you can't play if you're healthy. Now, if you're hurt, I get that, but guys like Luka dropped 40 like 3 straight games, and like also he had a groin injury Sunday night. Him and Reeves couldn't play Sunday against the Blazers. That's a problem for me. Like I'm not gonna want to watch that game if he's not playing. I don't care about Nick Young Jr. and fucking DeAndre Ayton. I don't want to see that. Like I want to see the stars play on these prime guys play in these time slots. And for me, it's like my fandom for NBA viewing has really dissipated. Like the Bucks and Warriors played last Thursday night, and Giannis didn't even play. Bro, we're 2 weeks into the fucking season. Why are you taking games off already, bro?
You got scratched last minute. Like it was like 10 minutes before the game started. You got scratched,
and he was fine because he played the next game. So clearly, he was fine. He
played the night before.
That's a problem for me as a fan. I'm a Mavs fan first, the NBA, but now it's making my fandom like wane a little bit because these star guys aren't playing in these games. This is not February or March. It's November, and guys are already taking games off.
Yeah. I mean, it's a problem.
Just real quick, I think the issue now is less load management than it is, man. Guys are just hurt because there's just so much stress put on their bodies from the way the game is played, and then add to the schedule. It, as much as we hate it, the only logical thing is to like manage guys across the schedule. Like you just have to do that. Like it's a thing now. The Warriors have the oldest starting lineup or roster in the league. Like at least one of the oldest. Like there's no way those guys are playing 82 games or even really close to it. And like you really can't see a scenario where that would even be the smartest thing. That's the issue. The NBA is like working their way to fixing like the presentation part. Now there's some things they need to smooth over in the actual like content part, like the actual game part. And they do have to like think about that schedule and like can it be stretched out more or something, because guys they can't play 82 games. Like that's a thing of the past.
Yeah, you got to wonder if they're gonna will they cut it from 82 to 70?
No, they won't. That's not gonna happen. Like
because
because
of money. You're right. So it means you have to start the season like in September or something, and really stretch it out. Which then you're going head to head with football for a lot longer than you'd want.
Or maybe like start October 1 and expand rosters to like 15 active or something like that. I think it's 15, but not active, but like maybe do 18 to 15 active. Like this money's not an issue. Like you're making $76 billion for the next decade, so you can expand 3 guys on a roster, like and start 3 weeks earlier to lessen the back-to-backs. But it's like the product is hurting because kids want to see these guys play, and families want to see. When you bring your son and daughter and your wife to a game, you want to see Luka play. You want to see Steph play. Well, not so much Steph, because Steph doesn't miss games, but like these other guys, Booker and like Giannis, these guys are making $60 million a year. You can't play 3 hours back-to-back nights. Like, I don't understand. Like it, or less than the minutes. Like instead of playing 38, play 30. I mean, like do a better job managing these players to where these guys aren't missing games early on in the season. It's fucking November 3rd or 4th, and you guys are already taking games off. That's crazy to me. It's ludicrous.
Yeah, I mean, the way the game is played is also, like Tristan said, is a part of it. But there's also a part where it's like kind of the Jordan, kind of the Kobe thing, where it's like there's some guys that just want to play, and some guys like they want to play for various reasons, for stats, for just because they're that great, they want to be out there. And I don't know that we have as many of those guys as we maybe used to. Like they want to embrace that moment. Like Jordan, he said this a million times. I've seen him do this in interviews where he'd say like, the reason why I played every game. And by the way, when he came back from the Bulls with the Bulls. He played every game. He played every preseason game, regular season game, postseason game, of course. And he said, it's like there's somebody that bought a ticket to see me. And like, how can I not play? I got to go play, So like, and like what those teams did back then is, like, okay, you want to get your rest. If you're blowing out the team in the third quarter, you ice your knees for the fourth quarter. You're done. Like it's
Right.
You're kind of doing a half day, like in some ways. So there are ways around it. But honestly, like the NBA has been kind of dead to me for a little while, and the NBC of it has brought me back into it where I actually want to watch the games and care about it throughout the whole season. So I'm looking forward to what the rest of the season offers, and we'll probably talk some more basketball when we get a chance. But this is primarily a football pod, and it's always fun to talk about the pigskin. The next time we'll be back is in December when we'll kind of get into the last month of the season. And then when we roll the playoffs, we'll be going week to week. We want to keep you updated with everything that's going on. As we get out of here, Tristan, any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Just shout out to NBC and Amazon. Absolutely. I love Steve Nash, Dirk, Blake Griffin. I think that's been like my favorite broadcasting crew so far. I just shout out to that. Yeah, man, more Brashard Smith snaps for the Chiefs and more Tyquan Thornton. Good Lord. Y'all are lucky. I could have went on 10 minutes on Tyquan Thornton, man. More Tyquan Thornton. Those are my thoughts, man. See y'all in December.
What a segue.
Fuck, man. More Tyquan Thornton, please. He's good.
Frank, final thoughts before we get out of here.
Oh, man. I think Drake May's gonna be a good one, man. I really like watching Drake May play football. He's fun to watch. And CJ Stroud, my guy's mojo back. He looks like he's liking football again. The offense looks kind of watchable again. So now watch him only score 10 points against Jacksonville this Sunday. But so far CJ has really gotten good the last 3 weeks.
Is CJ gonna play?
Yeah, he was concussed in the last game. Yeah.
Got his bell rung.
Yeah. We'll have to see about that one. Thanks everybody for watching, listening to us. I want to shout out to Marcy in the chat. That's the best way to join us. She's been killing the chat all night long. If you don't see us live, that's okay. Also, leave us a comment in the comment section below. We're on YouTube. You know that. Follow us, like and subscribe, do all that stuff. We're also on social media. Check us out there. And if video podcasts are not your thing, that's okay. We're on the audio platforms as well. You can find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So go follow us there. We'd appreciate a 5-star review. So as we get out of here, for Tristan, for Frank, I'm Justin saying thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time. Have a good night. Bye-bye.